In September of 2018, a new animated fantasy series from one of the key minds behind Avatar The Last Airbender, Eryth Sea, launched. It debuted its first season on Netflix, and it caused an enormous wave of acclaim across YouTube. People called it a spiritual successor to Avatar The Last Airbender, one of my favorite shows of all time, animated or otherwise. But I couldn't quite get on board. Then I watched the second season when it came out about 6 months later. I liked it more than the first season, but I still didn't love it. Then I watched the whole show through a second time, and something just clicked. I connected with the show in a way I just hadn't before. There are plenty of reasons for that, but the foremost one might be that Rayla is just a fantastic character. She's funny and cunning, but her story is also one of sorrow and loneliness. Her sympathies toward humans make her a pariah in elven society. She is an assassin sent to kill humans. Instead, she falls in love with a human. In a world that is so split between humans and elves, there is no place for her. There is no category she can easily fit herself into. Instead, she must make her own category as she travels across the world with Callum. This is fertile ground for a coming-of-age story. In a way, she is not dissimilar to Zuko. They're both failures by the standards of their respective societies, and at the start of their respective series, they internalize these societal standards and think of themselves as failures. It's only as they grow and mature and have positive interactions with others do they finally learn that they're not the ones who are wrong. Rather, it's societal mores that are wrong. All three main characters in this series, Callum, Rayla, and Ezrin, don't quite know who they are at the start of the series. And so, to find the roles they want to play in society, they have to grow and they have to try to figure themselves out. That's how you keep a fantasy series full of momentum, season after season. That's how you keep it full of tension. However, Rayla's arc stands out to me. The elves' anti-human bias is well established early on. Rayla works against this. If she were purely pro-human at the start of the series, there would be no tension in her character, and she would just be tedious and bland. What makes her character work is her internal conflict. She doesn't quite know what to think or what beliefs to hold. Watching her try to figure that out is dramatic and compelling television. This is The Dragon Prince Explained, Why I Love Rayla. It would be easy to make a character like this nothing but comic relief. Her Scottish accent can be a bit gratuitous, and in the human Rayla segments, she pretends to be a human, playing on the broadest stereotypes elves have of human society. These human Rayla sections are so charming that they could have taken over her character. She could have become nothing more than a pile of gently mocking jokes about humans. But that lightness is tempered by the tension within her. She's left fighting the shadow of the person society wants her to be. The transformation she undergoes throughout the series would not work if the show did not first sell the idea of her as a major threat. Thankfully, it manages to do that, starting in its first episode. Rayla is a skilled warrior, there is never any doubt about that. When she embarks on a mission to kill a guard, we have every reason to believe she will succeed. But she doesn't. Instead, she creates a convoluted plan to make it appear as though she did kill him. She stains her blades with berry juice. This causes her to fall into disgrace among elf kind. In the next episode, she wants to redeem herself, but she is not given the chance. So consumed by the idea that she needs redemption, she disobeys orders. She tries to kill the king, Harrow, and his son, Prince Ezrin. We've already been given hints into these opposing sides of her. There's the side of her that wants to do what she knows is right. And then there's the side of her that wants to do what she believes she has a duty to do. She's torn between these two sides. The reason she gives her why she didn't kill the guard in the first episode is that he wasn't harming her, he wasn't threatening her, he posed no danger to her. So we're left wondering what she is going to do about Callum and Ezrin. She believes Ezran needs to pay for the death of the Dragon King, but she also knows that Ezran himself did not harm the Dragon King. The easy thing for the show to do would have been to make clear from the opening moments of her confrontation with Callum that she is not really going to kill him, but it doesn't do that. Rather, it lets us soak in that tension, even if we, the viewer, knowing Rayla's refusal to kill the guard in episode 1, believe she is not going to kill Callum. Callum certainly doesn't know that, and how the interaction proceeds gives him no reason to trust her. She's strong and formidable, and she at least pretends to be confident. This is her deep in the Season 1 Zuko stage of her character arc. She is behaving in bad faith, as that concept is defined by 20th century existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre. To him, bad faith meant restricting one's innate freedom by accepting values and beliefs that are not one's own. For example, a waiter behaves in a certain way because of the social perceptions of their profession. There is a certain way to act waiterly, and the waiter adopts these behaviors, considering them expressions of their selves, their beings, their ideals and opinions, even though this is not the case. Rayla's flaws at the start of The Dragon Prince come from a similar misconception. Expectations forced upon her have led her to adopt a false conception of herself. She believes that she is an assassin. She believes that despite her sympathies toward humans, she can set those sympathies aside and do what she has been told to do. These are lies that stop her from seeing clearly. Only as she grows does she abandon these lies and realize that her true self is not someone who blindly obeys elven orders, even though that would be an easier role to play. She's not someone who attacks humans just because she is told to do so. Rather, her true self is someone who fights for a more just and balanced society, and for peace between human beings and elves. I know the Callum and Rayla pairing has detractors who say it's so obvious and cliché, but I like it from a thematic standpoint. Is it obvious? Well, yes. The idea of two people starting off as enemies, but becoming first friends, then lovers, has been done time and time and time again. But that's because it works. It naturally lends itself to story arcs about characters overcoming their biases and becoming more mature, and finally understanding what are their own feelings and beliefs, not those imposed upon them by outside entities. Rayla's relationship with Callum matters for her character development. It's the most overt sign to her that humans are not all the bitter, greedy, callous creatures that elven society believes they are. As she becomes closer to him, and the relationship goes more toward romantic territory, she is forced to examine, then finally relinquish these biases. She stops feeling the shame her society tries to impose upon her. She starts embracing the facets of her identity that had hitherto made her a pariah. Gradually, her confidence grows. Throughout Season 1, she's trapped by a band on her arm. Contrary to what she says, it's not decorative. It binds her to her quest to kill Ezran. Until she loses it, she cannot truly get free. She cannot stop seeing herself in bad faith. She doesn't lose the band until the end of Season 1. At that point, it's bitten through by the newly hatched dragon Ozymandias. This is a little contrived, but it works thematically. Rayla started the hunt for Ezran under the false idea that the Dragon Prince had been killed. Realizing the truth helped facilitate her transformation. She and her people yearned to protect the dragons. And indeed, the death of Ozymandias' father was the pretense for the elves to drive the humans out of their land. Ozymandias freeing her from her band, and thus from the idea that she needs to kill Ezran, is a reversal of that concept. It's a dragon giving her license to leave behind the human-hating ways of elven society, even though those ways ostensibly exist because of how humans have treated dragons. It's a powerful, surprising, profound statement that does not get enough credit. However, as powerful as Ozymandias can be, he cannot free her from her biases. He can help her, but she has to do that work herself. Only she can secure her freedom. The Dragon Prince follows Avatar The Last Airbender in making its statements about the power of bonds specific. The difference between the Saccharine and the genuinely optimistic is that the Saccharine provides no concrete details, while the genuinely optimistic provides no shortage of them. If your work is about the power of love or the power of friendship, that's fine, but the power of love or friendship to do what exactly? If you do not provide specifics, you come off as platitudinous. Thankfully, the Dragon Prince makes sure to clarify why the members of its makeshift team need each other. At the start of the series, they are deeply imperfect and flawed people. As their journeys progress, they become closer, and that's a positive in of itself, but it's also a positive because it makes their individual character journeys easier. Rayla would have never stopped engaging with herself in bad faith if she had been left alone. She would have continued believing that she is supposed to be a killer. She would have continued believing that she is supposed to hate humans. And so she would have continued seeing herself as a failure. There are multiple possibilities for how this could have ended, and none of them are good. Either she suffers a complete mental breakdown, or her moral compass collapses, and she becomes the person Elven society wants her to be. But because she has Ezran and especially Callum to rely upon, that doesn't happen. However, I must clarify that this is not just a matter of her getting lucky. She does get lucky, but she also has to choose to open up to others. She has to choose to show her vulnerable side. She has to choose to reveal that she needs help. Because she does this with Callum, he does it with her. And the relationship is more honest because of that. They're not afraid to show their darkest secrets to each other. That doesn't mean there aren't problems in their relationship. Early on, Rayla learns the horrible things Callum has said about her, and they have to move past those words if they are to grow closer. More troublesome is when Callum uses dark magic near the end of Season 2. This confirms every horrible thing Rayla has been taught about humans. Unable to use magic, he responds by crushing the life out of magical creatures. True, it is for a good cause, but the damage is done in Rayla's eyes. She takes it as a betrayal. Her old idea of humanity being this cruel and callous force returns. It would have been understandable if she had abandoned her progress after all this. It would have been understandable if she had turned her back on Callum, but she doesn't. She chooses to keep on accepting him, and they work through this together. The relationship is stronger because of that. Although this relationship is beneficial to both of them, Rayla has to work more to get there. True, Callum had to forgive her for trying to kill him, but he had been looking for someone like her, someone he could really connect with. Someone his age that he could talk to about the things that matter to him. Someone he could grow close to as he tries to figure himself out. But to establish a relationship with him, Rayla has to discard her preconceptions about the world. She has to discard her preconceptions about herself. That she manages to do this is a testament to her patience, to her determination, and to her inner strength. So thank you, Rayla. You're far from the only reason why this series works, but you are the foremost reason why I've grown to care about it as much as I have. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can and you want to see more content like this. Keep watching The Dragon Prince, it is a great show. And if you're a Dragon Prince fan, you're probably also an Avatar fan. So feel free to check out the abundance of Avatar-related content on this channel. Tune in soon for the next analysis. It is sure to be coming soonish, in about a week or so. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.